All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and start, Amy, if that's okay with you.
Let's do it.
Everyone, I'm Pastor DJ. I think I know. I now know I've met everyone here. Glad to have you guys here. Amy, I got to know via email. It's the first time we've been able to talk face to face. When I was doing a Christian counseling class for my seminary. And we were one of the things as part of that, we were required to contact different counselors in our area, both that were explicitly Christian and then others that worked in other fields, just to kind of know the resources available around us. And had Amy's been super gracious to offer all sorts of things, and we haven't always been able to uh, accommodate her and find ways that she can use her gifts with us. But she offered this last week, and we said yes. And
Here
so
I
we're super
am.
thankful to have Amy here, and we'll make sure we get your info out to everyone, Amy, after this too, so that you can anyone that wants to can reach out to you.
That'd
So
be
yeah,
great.
I'll
I
go
would
ahead and
love
hand
that.
it off. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and hand it off to you, and I'll mute everyone else until Amy says uh, to undo everything, and then we can go from there. So let me
Yes.
mute.
Okay. All right. So, yes, I'm Amy Karman, and I work in Studio City as a marriage and family therapist. Um, and I reached out to DJ, or I reached out to you. I think I landed in your lap because I went through my emails. I was like, how did we get connected? Was he the one I talked to on the phone? And it was. And um, yeah, I think because I had just been moving over from Beverly Hills to Studio City and really just have a heart for helping God's, like the church community, have more of a balance within. So to help heal trauma, get rid of addiction, and help people with anxiety come down to neutral, and help people with depression come up to neutral. So this is weird times that we're in. Everyone is having all sorts of triggers in many different ways. And there's been a lot of symptoms. Like, even I have had to practice regulating my nervous system more than ever. I've had to layer my tools on top of each other. And I was thinking, what can I do? Like that first week we were on, like when things started getting weird, I made like a PDF. Um, that was about how to calm. And then I started thinking, like, I should probably start like teaching this, because who doesn't want to learn how to calm? And I am coming off of working all day and then putting my two little daughters to bed. So I'm like a little bit like, ooh, inside. So I'm going to be joining in on these exercises, and I cannot wait to feel better than I feel right now inside. I can already tell, like, I feel like a little icky and I want to just feel chill. So a little bit about my history. I moved from England when I was 5 years old, and no one ever processed that with me. And then when my mom had cancer at 13, nobody processed that with me. And I am not a victim. I am so glad that I had a lifetime of feelings stored inside of me. By the time I was 21, I turned to alcohol. Um, I was actively drinking and just doing anything to not have to feel the feelings that were stuck inside of me that I did not know how to get out. I was always worried about everything, and I would go from worried to depressed. And um, when I even connected with Jesus, I was still having those same patterns of feeling really anxious and then feeling really low. And finally, when I learned about the nervous system from a great therapist, and I was going to school to become a counselor, I unlocked ways of controlling my nervous system, ways of overriding it. And I found greater freedom in interacting in my everyday life. I didn't feel so jumpy. And then I like things that really like if I made a mistake or something, I found that I didn't have to dwell in it. and suffer longer than I needed to. I could bounce back to neutral quicker. And it's these tools, like I just acquired them throughout the years of reading probably 100 self-help books, seeing numerous counselors, getting the master's degree, and doing hours and hours of supervision where basically the people who are helping you become a therapist, they just do therapy on you all day. So lots and lots of therapy. And really allowing myself to get in touch with that little girl inside of me who moved when she was 5, and that little teenager who basically lost her mom for a year while she went through chemo. She survived, thankfully. And I'm here just to tell you, like, I'm a pretty regulated human, and I still feel like it's a part-time job just to keep myself calm. Because within any day, anything can happen, right? There's so many unpredictable days. And now more than ever, there's this intensity upon us, right? There's just weird things in the news. There's lots of people who have stories where really scary things are happening to them and their loved ones. There's a literal threat that we could die from. Like, that is so scary for our nervous system. So I am here to say there's hope in how we want to recover from anything that feels anxious inside. The first thing I want to tell you is that we have a nervous system, and it has two parts to it. So it has a parasympathetic part and a sympathetic. So when we get activated, we go into our fight or flight, and we want to either run away or we want to hide. And then the third option is freeze, like when really life feels like anything, like we don't have any choices in life, like if we've been fired and there's no jobs available, or someone breaks up with us and there's no way we get back. Sometimes we just freeze. We go, what else is there to do? I don't feel like I'm not scared and I'm not sad. I just feel like numb. I feel like that one's the worst one for me because it's like basically you've given up. Um, and then the other part of the nervous system is the rest and the recover. So, how do we get into that one? The nervous system is autonomic, meaning it happens on its own, which is really annoying, but we all have one and it happens to all of us, right? If you had a lot of trauma, your nervous system's probably more jumpy, right? Or it gets stuck down or it gets stuck up into anxiety. If you had really secure adults around you growing up who were like, oh, I'm so sorry you felt that way, and they're really empathetic, your nervous system's probably a little bit more, you probably have like a wider ability to handle life, right? Um, for those of us who did not have all that empathy, like because you're British and emotions are just silly little things that we should just shove down and not worry about and just shove them under the rug, carry on. Um, we we need to have empathy with ourselves. We need to learn to let Jesus's empathy in, the compassion of Christ, the compassion of people who want to give us empathy. We need to learn how to let that in. Okay. So the only thing that we really can control just off of the bat is our breath right here, right now. Like, no matter where you are in your nervous system, we are going to start with some breathing. And before we do some breath work, I want you to check in with yourself and give yourself a number. So if 0 is neutral and 10 is the most disturbing, like I'm so anxious or I'm so depressed or whatever it is, where are you on the scale from 0 to 10? So, like, if I check in with myself, I might go into my body and see, is there stuff that's tense, tight? So, I think I'm at like a 3, maybe. Like, I kind of feel tense in my stomach. I'm a little sweaty, probably just from public speaking. I don't know. I have a crick in my neck. That feels kind of just like physical pain can be a little disturbing. And I'm a little tired. So, check in with yourself physically, emotionally, and give yourself a number. And just try to remember that number because we want to see how we do. Can we bring that number down? That's my goal, is to get you down at least a notch or two. Okay, maybe all the way to 0. So let's begin with some deep breath work. So when you breathe, most people breathe shallow, like up here. Okay, it's like I'm doing a dance move. Okay, but what you want to do is breathe into your belly. So your belly breath is down here. And you want to expand outward, like you're about to blow out 50 birthday candles. And then when you exhale, imagine that you're blowing bubbles. Like, okay, so breathe in. Everybody, hold at the top for 4. And let's exhale really slow. And breathe in. Hold at the top. And exhale really slow. And breathe in. Hold at the top. And exhale really slow. And when you exhale really slow like that, you can just breathe normal now. What's happening is we're balancing out the oxygen and the carbon dioxide levels in the brain. So when we're all anxious, we're breathing in way too much oxygen and we get a little bit lightheaded and dizzy, and you can't actually access your prefrontal cortex, which is right behind this part of the face, this is responsible for logic. So if you need to make some decisions or think about how to spend your day or your time or how to create some plans for yourself during this weird time, you have got to be able to access this. You have to be able to remember who your friends are, remember what you like to do, remember what's available, right? Think about how to make a plan. If we're in our reptilian brain, our fight or flight, which is back here in the amygdala, that you can't think clearly. If you're operating out of that, you're just thinking, what am I going to eat next? I'm really tired. There's not much beyond that. Like maybe I'll go for a run, or maybe, I'll watch TV. I'll go into my comatose state where I feel safe in my little shell. Nobody else does that? I do that. Okay. All right. So we have some breathing, and I want you to just check in with yourself again. How's your number? Did just breathing take you down a notch? I think mine brought me to a 2. I don't know. I noticed that when I'm knocked out of my resilience zone, I can barely remember that breathing is even an option. It's bizarre. It's like I get pushed into a desert and I have no tools. So having like a little in case of emergency list, these are some things you can do for your future self it can be helpful. Name it to tame it. So if you have mosquito bites and you're itchy, what feeling might that be? Does anyone know what feeling that could be? Maybe irritated?
I'm going to say annoyed.
Annoyed, right? So if you could just say, I'm annoyed, that can sometimes take you down a notch. If you name your feeling out loud even, and you can tell someone, gosh, I'm really feeling annoyed. And it sucks. I have one on my leg. It's so itchy. Mosquito bites suck. That urge though, when we sit quietly and we're breathing, meditation teachers will teach you this. You'll sit there and even if you didn't have mosquito bites, your whole body would just start to itch. Look at Steve. He's just like, I'm itchy. I'm itchy right now. That's because when we slow down, our body doesn't like to be still. We're always in motion. We want to be doing more. We want to be doing more. Sitting and being is really hard. Okay. So the next thing I want to teach you is called resourcing. So resourcing is when you think of someone or something. It could be your dog. It can be Jesus. It could be a beautiful beach scene. So when you think of these things and you shift your mind to that and you have a solo focus on that person, place, animal, you can shift your emotions to feeling warm and fuzzy or calm or neutral. So take a moment right now, and I want you guys to think of your favorite nature scene in your mind. So it can be real or imagined, meaning you can blend together two things. Maybe you like the beach and the mountains, so you're like on a mountain looking out at the beach, or maybe you're just like in a grove of trees. And get a sense of the colors. I'm going to choose the forest in my mind because I always go to the beach, so I'm going to do something different. Picture your forest or your mountains, or you can picture a human that you love that you feel safe with. Or you can think of an animal that makes you feel good. See how it looks, how it smells, the sounds. the temperature. And if that's not working, you can just find the present moment can be your resource. Just coming back to the present. So visualize your resource and notice how you feel, positive, negative, or neutral. And breathe in, breathe out, and just notice that. Okay, so hold that place or person or animal in your mind. And now think of just something that's mildly annoying, like a 2 out of 10. It can be the mosquito bite, or it could be a bill you have to pay, or even just maybe not being able to do something that you like to do, like sit at a restaurant. Okay. And then just notice how you feel inside. Maybe there's like a little bit of heaviness or disturbance. Okay. And just notice that. Just notice what's going on inside your body on the other side of the spectrum, right? On the harder side of life. Okay. And we're going to pendulate back now. So just put that in your container, put that hard thing, that little minor annoyance or that minor hard thing into a container, like your box or your jar. Okay. And we're just going to put the lid on that just for a moment. We're going to leave that on the shelf. And I want you to pendulate now back to the thing that we originally created. So your person, your place, or your animal. And I want you to shift back to it and notice how it feels as you shift back. Okay. Just notice what's happening in your body. If you still have something disturbing going on, even if you're picturing something warm and lovely or cool and comforting, notice in your body where you feel it. So if you're I'm going to keep talking about the mosquito bites. I can't stop it. I'm like addicted. You gave me something to work with, so I'm just going to think of it. So if you have like an itch or something is uncomfortable, like for me right now, I'm like really tense in my shoulders. I'm going to shift my thinking to another part of my body. So I'm going to shift down to my feet. And I'm just going to I'm saying cross legs. I'm going to put my feet on the floor. And if there's something disturbing, like if you have a headache or your shoulders are tense or stomach, there's something kind of upset in your stomach from all the anxiety or the worries of the world, you can shift down just to the bottoms of your feet and really feel your feet on the ground. Feel your butt in the chair you're in. Come ground into the moment, like by feeling all the points of contact underneath the bottom of your feet. Okay. All right, good. And we're going to pendulate back now. We're going to go back to that one little thing that we just thought of that was a little bit annoying that we had in our container or a little bit disturbing. For me, it's like not being able to eat at restaurants. I just pick something that I do miss. Like I miss a good booth. So just picturing that. And I feel a little bit of sadness. Like I miss that quality time with my husband in the booth. Like I'm kind of sick of sitting in the car. I'm sick of eating at home. There's some irritability, right? And I feel that just a hollowness in my stomach, like where I want that restaurant food just to fill. And I want not just the food, I want the atmosphere. Okay. So I just feel that inside, that kind of but you know what? It's good to feel it. Kind of feels good to feel it for a moment, just to notice what's happening. From there, I'm not going to put it in the container. I'm going to shift now back to my safe place, my forest or whatever it is you're thinking of. And it's just like a sense of expansion, a sense of beauty and nature that I can access in my mind at any point. And you know who I'm going to bring in if you haven't already? I'm going to put Jesus there with me right here, right now. I'm going to bring him into my nature scene. And I might ask him, hey, Jesus, would you comfort me? I just have this sense of togetherness, this sense of connectivity once more. Like he's there with me. You know, that thing I was looking for in the restaurant, that sense of deep connection, he can give that to me right here, right now. I just had to sense into it. He's always on my right. I don't know if anyone else has a place where Jesus always is, but he's like here. He's like my buddy. Okay. All right. So letting that in. And now shifting back to the little thing that was bothering you. And just knowing like, yep, that will be there. And he's here right now. So I'm okay. So there's a sense of it getting kind of ironed out within. So see if you can bring Jesus now into that thing that was bothering you. Is he able to meet you right there in that little that place of annoyance, that place of sadness, that longing? Good. And if there's anything left in the body, just shift down to the feet. If your feet, you're like, I don't like shifting to my feet, you can shift to your cheeks or the backs of your hands, anywhere neutral in the body. Good. Good. Taking a deep breath. If there's anything remaining, just put that in your container. Might need to deal with that some other time, but for now, we're going to put that aside. Okay. And I would love some feedback if you want to come back to the present moment, open your eyes. Moving on. So, this next tool, this one is more in your body. So, this is called progressive muscle relaxation. So, progressive meaning from top to bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scrunch our faces up like this. And then we're going to release them. Ready? Everybody scrunch. And release. Scrunch and release. Good. Now shoulders, scrunch up, 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 and down, and up. Oh, that feels good. Yes, 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 yes. And down. Okay, now arms. So you're going to, Superman arms. So you're going to flex everything. And release. Ready? And flex, flex, flex. Squeeze and release. Good. All right, now we're going to do like the core. So you're going to flex your stomach and you're going to just flex your pectoral muscles and release. Ooh. Whew, that felt good in my stomach. Okay, ready? Clench your stomach, squeeze, 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 and release. Very good. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our legs out and we're going to put them both out in front of us. And we're going to straighten them and we're going to flex our muscles and our butt muscles and our feet. Squeeze, 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 and release. Good. And ready for the, again, bottom part of our body. Squeeze, 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 and release. Okay. Now we're going to do the whole thing. So we're going to squeeze our face, our shoulders, our arms, our tummies, our legs, squeeze, and release. Everything one last time. Ready? Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And release. Very good. Okay. Check in. How is everybody doing? What number is everyone at? Did anyone's number go down a notch since we started? I'm at like a 1. I'm feeling pretty good now. How about you guys? So you can join us for this next exercise. So we're going to do a little bit of meditation. So I don't know if anyone has meditated before. So here's the thing with meditation. You want to sit up fairly straight. So get your posture in alignment, but not like too stiff. Like it's relaxed, but in alignment. And then you want to kind of tuck your chin a little bit, mostly because it's comfortable, right? If something hurts, don't do it. It's a good rule of thumb. With your body anyway, not necessarily with goals. Okay. All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do your 3 deep breaths. And I want you to kind of relax your eyes like halfway. So you're staring 45-degree angle. And you're going to pick a point to stare at. So I am picking a key on my keyboard to stare at. And you're going to make an agreement with your eyes. You're going to say, hey, eyes, we're not moving from this point. Even if you want to move, even if you want me to look out of my peripherals, I am still going to stare at this little point on my keyboard, okay? So we're staring at this little point, and now we're going to figure out a place to look at our breath. So look inward and see, do you want to focus on your nostrils, on your chest, or your stomach? So you can pick one of those three body anchors, okay? Now we need something to do with our mind. So we've anchored our eyes, we've anchored our breath. I'm going to focus on my nostrils. Now, the mind is a little trickier because it is wild. So it's going to think. The point is not to not think. The point is to catch yourself thinking non-judgmentally and bring it back to the breath. And you might want to think of a word or a phrase. So I'm going to think of the words be still, be still. So every time I breathe in, I'm going to think be still. And every time I breathe out, I'm going to think be still. And I'm going to watch the clock for us. We're going to do 5 minutes together of a guided meditation. Actually, I'm going to have Siri help us out. And not guided, sorry, a timed meditation. And starting now, just for 5 minutes, I want you to make an agreement that every time your mind, your eyes wander off, that you'll bring it back to these three things. If you don't want to say a word or a phrase, you can count your breaths in 1, out 1, all the way up to 10, and then you start over again. So please join me in this time of stillness. And slowly start bringing your awareness back to the room you're in. Bat open your eyes. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes. Come back to the present. That felt good. Anyone else enjoy that? How was that for you guys? So check in with yourself. Think about the number you were when you started. What number are you at now? If 0 means neutral, 0 doesn't mean like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. 0 is just like, I'm chill. Where are we at? Give yourself a big hug right now. We all need it. Ready? And thank yourself for just showing up tonight for you to learn some tools and see, you know yourself best. Put it on your calendar or partner up with someone if you're an accountability person, or dangle a carrot in front of you. Like, if I meditate for 5 days in a row, I'm going to get that ice cream, whatever it is, that new shirt. Okay. All right. Gosh, thank you so much for your time. Thanks again for your time, and thanks for inviting me into your little group here. What an honor to get to share with you. Yeah, keep regulating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amy. And everyone,
Thanks, Amy.
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
And 3 breaths to go, because I
All
heard
right,
the bell.
guys.
Ready? Go.
We will see you.
3 breaths to go. Ready? Very good. Use your visualizing, your progressive muscle relaxation. Have a good night.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Amy.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Bye.
much. Appreciate it.